There's something the IRS doesn't advertise widely, but absolutely allows. There's a tax bracket in this country where you can sell your investments, pocket the gains, and owe the federal government $0. That is right, a $0 tax bill even when you make money in the market. And this is not through some fancy loophole, complex offshore trust, or some tax shelter reserved only for the ultra-wealthy. It is written directly into the tax code and available to anyone who qualifies. Today, I want to walk you through what this strategy is, who it applies to, and exactly how to use it. And hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, where we learn to grow our wealth slow and steady. First, let's talk about the tax bracket that we don't talk enough about, the capital gains tax bracket. Most of us are probably familiar with ordinary income tax, the tax on your paycheck, your salary, your wages. But what many people don't realize is that when it comes to your investments, the IRS plays by a completely different set of rules. When you sell an investment for a profit, the IRS taxes that gain based on two things. One, how long you held it for, and two, how much income you earned that year. If you held the investment for less than 1 year, the gain is considered short-term, and these get taxed as ordinary income, the same as your paycheck. Depending on your bracket, that could be 22%, 24%, and even 32% or higher. But if you held the investment for more than 1 year, the gain is considered long-term. And long-term capital gains are taxed at one of three rates: 0%, 15%, or 20%. Now, some of you might have heard about the 15% rate. You might also have likely heard of the 20% rate for high earners. But the 0% rate, for some reason, that one quietly sits at the bottom of the table and it doesn't get the attention that it deserves. But I say it should, because if you're able to qualify for it, you could literally sell your investments, pocket the gains, and hand the IRS absolutely nothing. For 2026, here are the actual numbers. If you're single, your taxable income needs to be below $49,450. If you're married filing jointly, below $98,900. At or under those thresholds, your federal tax rate on long-term capital gains is 0. Not low, 0. And here's also the key word: taxable income, not gross income, not your total salary. Your taxable income is what is left after your deductions. And for 2026, the standard deduction alone is $32,200 for married couples and $16,100 for a single filer. So what does this look like in practice? It means a married couple can earn up to $131,000 in gross income, and because of the standard deduction, they can still land inside the 0% capital gains bracket. If you're single, that number is $65,550 in gross income, and you still pay 0 in federal capital gains tax. No matter what anyone says, $131,000 for married couples and $65,000 for a single person are not low incomes. They are comfortable, real-world income for millions of households in this country. But you might be saying at this point, I still don't qualify. Being blessed with a great career, I earn too much. So thanks, Tay, but this does not apply to me. And I get it. For most of your working years at peak income, you might be right. But you have to recognize that wealth building is not one chapter. It is a whole book. And there are chapters in almost every financial life when income drops, sometimes dramatically. And that drop creates a window. I like to call these opportunistic windows. Let me walk you through a few most common windows of opportunities you can consider for your own situation. The first window is a sabbatical or career break. Imagine you're a high earner, well into 6 figures every year, and you decide to take a year off. Maybe spend more time with your family. Maybe to figure out what the next chapter looks like. In your normal working years, your capital gains tax rate is 15% or 20%. But during that sabbatical year, your income drops significantly. Suddenly, you have room in the 0% tax bracket. That appreciated position you have been sitting on for years, you can sell it, pay nothing in federal taxes, and immediately buy it back with a reset cost basis. The sabbatical was not just a break. It was a smart tax strategy. The second window is part-time transition. The doctor who cuts from 5 days to 2. The executive who steps back to consulting. The entrepreneur who sells the business and takes a year off. These income transitions, which happens naturally as people move towards financial independence, often creates low income years that most people do not think to use. The third window is the retirement gap years. You retire at 62, but you don't plan on claiming your Social Security until 70 to maximize your benefit. That is an 8-year window where you have no earned income, no W-2, no paycheck. Your taxable income could easily fall inside the 0% bracket even if you have a 7-figure portfolio. The fourth window is early financial independence. If you have built a portfolio that generates passive income and you're living on a modest withdrawal rate, say $60,000 to $80,000 a year, you may be inside the 0% bracket permanently, or close to it. Not every year will work, but many years will. And over 20 to 30-year retirement, that adds up to an extraordinary amount of tax-free realignment. Now, some of these strategies might be relevant to you, others may not, but the main point is this. Your income is not static. It has peaks and valleys. And smart investors take advantage of those valleys instead of letting them pass by unused. In the line of smart strategies, let's go one step further and talk about another smart tax strategy, tax gain harvesting. Most investors have probably heard of tax loss harvesting. Sell your losers, capture the loss, and use it to offset gains or reduce your income by up to $3,000 a year. It is a solid strategy and I have covered it before. Tax gain harvesting is a mirror image, but instead of selling losers to capture a loss, you intentionally sell your winners during a low income year to reset your cost basis, while paying zero in federal taxes. Let me show you exactly how this works. Say you bought $50,000 worth of total stock market index funds several years ago. Thanks to the market's growth, that position is now worth $120,000. You're sitting on a $70,000 gain. In a normal high income year, selling that entire position would cost you more than $10,000 at 15% rate or $14,000 at 20% rate. That is real money. But this year, you and your spouse are on sabbatical, or you're in a retirement gap year. So your combined ordinary income is $40,000. And after the $32,200 standard deduction, your taxable income before gains is just $7,800. The $70,000 gain stacks on top, bringing your total taxable income to $77,800, comfortably inside the $98,900 threshold for married couples filing jointly. You can sell your entire position, and what do you owe in federal taxes? Zero. And if you reinvest that money, the next time you sell that position, whether it is 5 years from now or 20 years, you're only taxed on gains above $120,000 instead of above $50,000. You single-handedly mitigated a $70,000 future tax liability, completely legal, for free. And here's the part that surprised a lot of people. There is no wash sale rule for gains. The wash sale rule, the IRS rule that prevents you from claiming a loss if you repurchase the same investment within 30 days, only applies to losses. For gains, you can sell and immediately buy back the exact same fund. The IRS does not restrict this. You report the gain, owe nothing, and your basis is reset. And I do want to call out that if you're hearing this for the first time, you probably have a moment of hesitation or reluctance, something that feels off. Especially if you're not used to selling something that has appreciated so much feels wrong. We've been told that we should never interrupt compounding. It can feel like market timing. It can feel wrong. But here's what I want you to understand. Tax gain harvesting is not a market call. You're not betting that the market is about to drop. You're not abandoning your long-term investment strategy. You sell and you immediately buy back. You're back in the market right away. The only thing that changes is your cost basis and your future tax bill. Think of it this way. Imagine you have a $100 bill that has a $30 tax lien attached to it. Someone offers to swap it for a clean, lien-free $100 bill. What would you do? You would do that trade in a heartbeat. That is essentially what gain harvesting does. The asset value stays the same. The embedded tax liability quietly disappears. The discomfort is psychological and not mathematical, and it is important to understand that distinction. Alright, but it's not all roses and petals with this strategy, taking advantage of low capital gains tax rate at low income years. There are some limitations, so let me cover some that you should be aware of. First, this is a federal tax strategy. State taxes are a different matter entirely. If you live in California, New York, New Jersey, or most other states with income taxes, you will likely still owe state taxes on the gain, even if the federal bill is zero. Run the numbers for your specific state before acting. For some people, the state tax bill is significant enough to impact the decision. Second, watch the ACA subsidy cliff. If you're under 65 and buying health insurance through the marketplace, your premium subsidies are tied to your household income. A large cap gain harvest, even one that costs you zero in federal taxes, count as an income for subsidy purposes. Depending on where you are relative to income thresholds, harvesting gains could reduce or eliminate subsidies worth thousands of dollars per year. Third, understand exactly how much room you have, and do the math precisely. This is the step most people skip, and it is where mistakes happen. Here is how to calculate it. Start with your estimated gross income for the year. Subtract your standard deduction. $32,200 for married filers in 2026, $16,100 for single filers. This gives you your taxable income before any gains. Now subtract that number from the 0% bracket ceiling. $98,900 married, $49,450 for single. Whatever is left is your harvesting room. Let's put some real numbers to it. Say you and your spouse have $75,000 in income this year. Some part-time consulting, some side income, some dividends. After the $32,200 standard deduction, your taxable income before gains is $42,800. Your harvesting room is $98,900 minus $42,800, which is $56,100. You can harvest up to $56,100 in long-term gains this year and owe zero in federal taxes. Harvest $70,000 instead, and almost $14,000 of it get taxed at 15%. That is a $2,000 bill you could have avoided entirely by doing the math first. Fourth, every gain you harvest must be long-term. Anything you have held for less than 1 year is short-term, taxed as ordinary income at your regular rate. A mistake here is expensive. Check your purchase dates before you sell. And fifth, if you don't feel 100% comfortable with your numbers, consult a tax professional before executing this strategy, especially if this is your first time. The framework is straightforward, but your specific situation, income sources, deduction, all matter. A 1-hour conversation with a CPA in October or November of a low-income year could be worth it. Now, if you found this helpful and want to actually run your own numbers, I have a free gift I want to share with you. I built a free capital gains tax calculator that does all the math for you automatically. Plug in your filing status, your income, your cost basis, and your sales price, and it instantly shows you your tax rate, your estimated tax bill, and exactly what you keep. I'll have the link to access it for free in the description below. And if you want to go even deeper, actually work through a coordinated strategy around your specific situation, this is exactly the kind of work we do inside the Financial Tortoise community using tools like these. You can learn more and join the waitlist at financialtortoise.com/community. But because I work with every single member personally, capacity is limited. The waitlist ensures you'll be the first to know when doors open again. Alright, with that said, do you want to get even more sophisticated with today's strategy? Let's get into what I like to call the double barrel move, where you take advantage of both tax gain harvesting and Roth conversion the same year. Here's something that a lot of people miss. Tax gain harvesting and Roth conversions are powered by the same fuel, a low income year, which means if you're in a window where this strategy works, you can potentially do both in the same year. In my 5-step Roth conversion blueprint video, which I'll link at the end, I walk through how to move money from a traditional IRA or 401k into a Roth during low income years to lock in lower tax rate. That strategy and this strategy are not competing with each other. They're actually complementary. Here's how to think about it. In a low income year, you have room in your tax brackets, both for ordinary income and for capital gains. The Roth conversion fills your ordinary income brackets at a low rate. The gains harvest fills your 0% capital gain space. You can do both in the same year at the same time, as long as you're careful about the math and make sure neither one pushes you past your target brackets. Let's look at an example. Say you're married filing jointly and your ordinary income is minimal for the year. No salary, just living off savings. So you decide to convert $40,000 from your traditional IRA to a Roth. After the standard deduction, $32,200 for married couples in 2026, your taxable ordinary income is only $7,800, which lands in the 10% bracket. Taxes owed for this conversion? $780. Not bad. Now here's where it gets even better. In the same year, let's say you harvest additional $40,000 in long-term capital gains from your taxable brokerage. Your total taxable income, the $7,800 plus the $40,000, comes to $47,800. That's well under the $98,900 threshold where long-term gains start getting taxed for married couples. So the entire $40,000 in gains is taxed at 0%. The result? Roth conversion tax, $780. Capital gains tax, $0. Total tax bill, $780 on $80,000 of wealth moved and gains realized. 1 year, 2 strategies, a tax bill that's a fraction of what it would have been in any normal working year. This is what coordinated tax planning actually looks like. It's not complex, it's not exotic, just 2 legal strategies used together in the right year. Pretty cool, right? Alright, I talked a lot, so let me give you a simple step-by-step zero tax blueprint to bring all this together. Step 1. Identify your low income years. As you can tell from this video, your low income years are the golden windows for many of these opportunities. So look at the next 5 to 10 years of your life. Are you planning a sabbatical, a career transition, an early retirement, a year of part-time work? Mark those years. Step 2. Near the end of the year of a potential window year, maybe around October or November, estimate your taxable income. Add up all your income sources. Part-time work, rental income, dividends, side income. Subtract your standard deduction or itemized deduction. Calculate how much room you have left in the 0% bracket. Step 3. Look at your taxable brokerage account and identify long-term positions sitting on gains. Prioritize the positions with the largest embedded gains relative to their current value. Those represent the biggest future tax liabilities you can erase today. Step 4. Sell up to the amount that keeps you inside the 0% bracket. Then, immediately repurchase. Your brokerage will send you a 1099 at the year end. You report the gain on your tax return, you owe 0 federal tax, your cost basis is reset. Step 5. Consider pairing it with a Roth conversion the same year if your income allows it. Fill your ordinary income brackets with the conversion and your capital gain space with the harvest. Step 6. Repeat this process in every low-income year you encounter over your financial life. Done consistently, this strategy can dramatically reduce the long-term tax drag on your portfolio. The beauty of this, if you think about it, is that it rewards the same qualities that good long-term investing requires: patience, intentionality, and the willingness to think years ahead instead of reacting today. Thank you guys for watching the theme of lowering taxes. Please check out my 5-step Roth conversion blueprint video here. Until next time, all the best.